Cybercrime is proliferating as fast as the technology allows, and the battle to keep data safe from criminals has never been more fierce or more complex. As a global cybersecurity leader, Fortinet addresses challenges such as increased breaches, rapid tech adoption, and an acute talent shortage, epitomizing the critical role of digital security in protecting systems around the world. Today, I'm sitting down with Derek Mankey, Chief Security Strategist and Global VP of Threat Intelligence at Fortinet, to talk about the future of our data security. Derek, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to see you, Andrew.
So we got lots to talk about, but first of all, give us a bit of background about Fortinet.
Yeah, Fortinet was founded in 2000, so this year in 2025, we're celebrating our 25-year anniversary. We protect nearly 1 million organizations worldwide, and that's cross-sector, everything from small businesses to large enterprise to government to critical infrastructure, healthcare providers, you name it. It's cybersecurity everywhere you need it. It's holistic, and it doesn't sleep. It's updated 24/7, 365 through FortiGuard Labs.
Well, that's crucial, isn't it? Because it's been described recently, cybersecurity, as something of an arms race with the technology changing so much and bad actors being so on top of their game.
Yep.
I mean, the speed with which the technology is moving is quite startling, isn't it?
Oh, it's astounding. The window is shrinking. It's getting, every year we're seeing it go from weeks to days to hours now this year. And that's compounded by offensive automation through weaponization of artificial intelligence. And of course, on our side, the implementation of AI and technologies to be able to reduce that mean time to respond and really get ahead of the attacks.
I mean, is it still about stopping bad actors getting in, or is it about spotting them once they are in?
It's all of the above, right? So if you look at the cybersecurity strategy, you need good preventative measures in place. That includes incident response and retainers, and we call them playbooks, being able to have a response to these attacks before they happen. But then also, if you do have an issue, who do you call? How do you respond to that? How do you engage professional services or managed services? These are all important things. And of course, we provide all that at Fortinet as well.
And artificial intelligence, that's going to end up playing an enormous part. How much of a part does it play so far in your operation?
Oh, it's critical. So we've had over a decade of innovation. A lot of people don't know this, but we've been at the AI game for well over 10 years. In fact, we hold over 500 patents from issued and pending. And so that's a lot of investment in AI. We've had to do that because we've had to stay ahead of the attackers. And so it's a critical piece, AI, being able to apply it to noise cancel, right? Find that needle in the haystack, respond to the threat to actually bridge the skills gap as well. The solution isn't to go out and hire 10, 20, 30 people, increase bloat your OpEx. It's about using AI to really be agile and have advanced detection.
Have you noticed a change in kind of the relationship that you have with clients these days from, say, even a decade or even 5 years ago, in terms of their expectations, in terms of the respect that they afford you, in terms of the willingness to engage in long-term partnerships, collaborations, contracts?
Yeah, absolutely, because a number of factors. You have regulation, you have just the sheer volume of attacks. People have waken up to this now. I mean, this is a reality, it's here to stay, unfortunately, but we need to deal with that. So yes, there's a lot of board level reporting now on cybersecurity, investment into cybersecurity. There's the regulations I mentioned, and more importantly, just the fact that these attacks are happening in more sophistication. The risk is much higher. And so for that reason, partnerships have also ramped up as the strength in numbers.
It's interesting you should mention risk, because I was going to ask you, how high are the stakes in this? Which is kind of the same thing, but I'm just wondering, the easy way to ask that is, how serious is the problem?
It's very serious. The stakes are quite high now. The game has changed. The goalposts have changed. We're seeing cybercrime now actually moved into a much more targeted nature. Just like nation state actors, cyber criminals, because of the years of profiting they've had, are acting as true criminal enterprise organized crime. They're going after, it's not just ransom of data, ransom of services. There's a cyber physical threat now impacting human lives. So the risk is much higher today.
And all that means that you've got to stay ahead of the curve.
Yep.
What are those kind of challenges like? You've got to keep yourself scientifically, technologically ahead of the curve. You've got to make sure you've got the right people on your team. Yep. What kind of challenges, what kind of headwinds are you pushing against as you advance into the next decade?
Yeah, we need to readjust our training, on a regular basis. So that includes our own professional skill sets and personnel, but we also need to do that for the whole ecosystem, right? So we have a very advanced training program. We've pledged to train 1 million people by 2026. It's a lot of people, but we're well on track for that. And this is looking at how do you actually identify cybersecurity threats, respond to that, work with, it goes back to that who do you call element. So the headwinds are strong, but this is why we need a combination between artificial intelligence and technology, but then people as well too, working with that.
I mean, I was going to say there's always the sustainability issues that companies face, benign cooperation within the ecosystem of collaborations in companies and the rest of it. And also, of course, one thing I've heard that cyber security particularly faces is a skills gap because the technology moves so fast, I suppose.
Yeah, the skills gap is real. We've been talking about this for a while, and again, the solution isn't just to hire our way out of the problem. So it requires training across the whole ecosystem to really reduce that skills gap. So there's a people piece to that, but there's a technology piece as well. And this is where we need to embrace artificial intelligence to up-level the skill set, to reduce that skills gap, to be able to move quicker, more agile, that humans just simply can't do. So it's really harmonizing this between the two and marrying those two together.
When you drive into work every morning, what's your heart rate like? I mean, is it an adrenaline-based way of life for you, a worrying way of life for you, or do you feel is it a procedure of competence and of being able to manage the environment around you?
People always ask what keeps me up at night, and we do sleep, right? Because first of all, we're following the sun 24/7, 365 through our global operations. We have over 13,000 employees at Fortinet. We got a lot of good people to help, so it's not a panic mode, right? It's all about being prepared, having the right technology in place, having procedures, so SOPs, security operational procedures and playbooks in place. That helps you rest at night. Being prepared for that is absolutely what you need to do to be able to be ready for the next threat.
Let's go back to this idea of ecosystems and partnerships. Tell us a bit about your relationship with the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, so the World Economic Forum, Fortinet has been a founding partner of the C4C, the Center for Cybersecurity, in 2019. We're a significant contributor to the Partnership Against Cybercrime. And for 3 years now, we've been a founding member of Cybercrime Atlas. I'm actually speaking this week in Davos on Cybercrime Atlas, which is about partnerships and how we move together to disrupt cybercrime.
So there must be cyber security organizations of different shapes and forms around the world. Do you now find a collaborative spirit coming together?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of good intent. The question is how? What is the most effective way that we can do this and actually work together to have the most effective approach against disruption? And this is something we've been at it, right, for well over 10 years now of partnerships, working with private sector, public sector, and bringing that into a global forum, which is what we're doing with the World Economic Forum and Cybercrime Atlas.
And Derek, are you optimistic going forwards?
I'm optimistic, yeah, because I've seen progress. We've just worked with Cybercrime Atlas. We're mapping the ecosystem. We're identifying points in that criminal enterprise where we can go after them, take down infrastructure, disrupt crypto, because they're using cryptocurrency a lot to do their transactions. And we've had success. We've operationalized this. We worked with Interpol recently. There was arrests of over 1,000 individuals from this work that we're doing through Cybercrime Atlas and the forum. So I'm hopeful.
This idea of actually arresting and punishing perpetrators rather than just preventing them from their actions. We understand cybercrime as being you never actually get to see the villain.
Yes.
But perhaps there is a world ahead of us where the pushback can go as far as actually locating the people who are the bad actors.
Absolutely. And it sends a message back. We need to instill fear in the adversary, and this is exactly what we're doing. And it's all of the above. It's a holistic approach. It's bringing public and private sector together. We can't just arrest our way out of the problem. That's an element, but we need to also create as much friction to really force them to go back to the drawing board.
So looking ahead then, quite long term perhaps, we've got collaboration, we've got the promise of looking to be more aggressive in terms of our pursuit of cybercrime. How are we going to keep all that momentum going?
Yeah, we've been at this again even with the World Economic Forum. We released a paper 5 years ago on the principles of collaboration. There's a lot of strategy that we're now implementing. So things like stakeholder longevity, right? So we've done this at Fortinet now. We've actually made our partnerships and disruption of cybercrime part of our CSR, our corporate social responsibility. We have a pillar in there on reducing cybersecurity risk to society. So this is board level reporting, it's tracking progress, it's making sure we have the right people involved, and more importantly, that we have this not just for this year, but for the foreseeable future as well too. So having that sustained momentum is key, not just for Fortinet, but for all partners in that ecosystem.
So left and right of you, you've got governments, you've got other cybersecurity organizations, you've got technology and data experts. You're kind of moving forward together and getting closer as you do it?
All of that, including law enforcement as well too. So yes, all of that, policymakers, law enforcement, prosecutors, because they need to be able to prosecute this in court for cyber criminals. All of that is coming in together in that ecosystem.
We're going to let you get back to work, Derek. Thanks very much. Pleasure talking to you.
It's a pleasure, thanks.
The battle's far from won and may never reach its end. With every passing year that the world relies even more heavily on data and digital technology, the likes of Fortinet will continue to adapt and evolve to stay ahead of the curve. Just as cybercrime and rapid technological change are likely to be constants in our lives, so support and protection from the likes of Fortinet are likely to be with us as well.